So it seems that we will get the perspective of Kinzo as the first twilight gets on. So who will die? I theorize that the cousins in the guest house might die, so let's see what happens.
この旅のゲームはどう転ぶのか。委ねるもよし、抗うもよし。いずれにせよ、わしに残されたわずかの命をトスに値する実に楽しい宴よ。
In his dimly lit study, occasionally brightened by lightning, Kinzo kept mumbling and laughing to himself. On the antique clock with the intricate design that had been sitting on his desk, the two overlapping hands tilted to the right and began to slide. The measure of time that counted up to 24 had returned to 0 and had begun to count back again.
時の刻みとは残酷なものよ。24を数えるために1日をかけてたどり着き、そして再び0に戻る。23時59分までは確かに数えただろう。しかし、24時にたどり着くことはできたのだろうか。たどり着けず、再び0時に戻ったと考えれば、それはなんとも虚しいことよ。
But perhaps a person's life is the same. You live aiming for a perfect 24, and the instant you reach it, you return to 0. People will probably praise the departed, saying that he did reach 24, but he most certainly did not. In the end, he's still a 0.
わしは違うぞ。わしは生きて24にたどり着く。そここそが黄金鏡。ベアトリーチェの住処なのだから。
I think he's still mourning the loss of his daughter, maybe. Kinzo had been fumbling around with some tarot cards for some time. It looked as though he was trying to divine his own luck with the contest, doing it over every time he didn't like the result. The most forbidden action in tarot reading is trying to predict the same thing twice. To do so ridicules the result of fortune telling, and also desecrates those being higher than humans that give revelation through the tarot cards. So I think he, after her death 20 years ago, he tried to get her back and delved into his black magic and then made a portrait and an epitaph because of it. A ritual to try and resurrect his own daughter. That's what I'm getting. However, Kinzo knew tarot cards shouldn't be used twice because since they give nothing more than a random number generator, reading them twice will naturally cause a different result to appear. Therefore, reading them twice was only forbidden to preserve the mystique of the tarot cards' results. However, that didn't mean that Kinzo didn't take tarot readings seriously. Kinzo's interpretation of tarot reading was done in a completely different way. That was to repeat the reading over and over without giving up in the slightest, until he reached the result most favorable to him. The mark he set for this most favorable result would vary. When he demanded the most favorable result in a strictly literal sense, it was the same as a simple roulette of luck, where he sought an arithmetic miracle. However, Kinzo used miracles of numbers as the basis of his magical power, so this functioned perfectly well as a magical ritual. Speaking of the whole epitaph, maybe it wasn't Kinzo who wrote it, but Beatrice, but not the Beatrice of the past that died, but the Beatrice that is the culprit. The Beatrice that's killing people. A different Beatrice from the one who died. And maybe she presented, he or she presented the epitaph to Kinzo as some sort of macabre, some sort of manipulation towards him, trying to manipulate him and trying to get his daughter back. In other words, until the result he desired appeared perfectly, he would strive to repeat the tarot readings over and over with conviction, turning the feelings of his heart into prayers, so that when they reached the heavens, they would be sublimated into results. This was Kinzo's personal magical interpretation. Therefore, even though Kinzo's tarot cards were no different from those generally used, the way in which they were used was completely different. Kinzo stopped his hands for a second. He seemed not to be getting the results he wanted. On the contrary, bad cards that shouldn't show up so often appeared repeatedly. Oh shit. So we're going to see the first Twilight here and continue to interfere with the miracle Kinzo wished for. I also theorized that the first Twilight might kill several people in different places instead of in a single place. Which... Kinzo seemed to have received some sort of revelation that was different from normal, but judging by the unlucky cards scattered across his deck, it was difficult to imagine that the omen had been a good one. For a while, Kinzo closed his eyes tightly, pondering something. Then, as the thunder roared, he made up his mind about something, took the telephone receiver, and dialed. Oh, he's calling Genji. So maybe Kanon will die this time around. In front of the entrance hall, Shannon's once burning face had been cooled off by the frigid air. She had thought that George's proposal would surely come sooner or later. It was as though she hadn't prepared herself mentally, and she had answered by nodding. Had she been reckless because of her youth? Should she have thought about her future more seriously? I wonder if my immediate reply made him think I'm a cheap girl. If I'd at least waited until tomorrow morning, would have at least shown him I was taking this seriously. Now that she'd already received the ring from George, Shannon kept fidgeting in embarrassment. I should have done this, I should have done that. As she did, she heard the sound of footsteps flashing through the puddles. Oh. Shannon immediately chased away the emotions welling up inside her.
Genji-sama? Kanon-kun mo... すみません。すぐに戻らなくて、その...
I think that maybe Kinzo will be calling all the servants, and then the first Twilight might happen in his room, in his study. She grew stiff, thinking that she'd surely be scolded for spending too much time in her secret lover's meeting with George. Yep. Maybe not Goda though, because he's not Kinzo's servant.
はい。一体何事なの？
不吉な予感がするってさ、自分で儀式を起こしておいて都合のいい話さ。
大田に気取られぬよう裏から入る。 足音に気をつける。
We will enter from the back so Berta doesn't see us.
姉さん注意して。姉さんは賑やかだから。
Kanon was especially good at hiding his footsteps, just like a cat. He was able to suddenly be there without anyone noticing and leave in the same way. For example, even though he stopped in puddles, the sound he made was far smaller than that of the rain hitting them. Genji also had abilities of that kind. Rather, those servants called furniture were supposed to be like that. Just like how desks and closets go unnoticed by members of the family, these servants also held it as a great virtue to just suddenly be there whenever they were needed. Compared to that, Shannon's footsteps still strongly asserted themselves. She was also trying to hide her footsteps, but compared to Kanon and Genji, well, you could say she was a little bit more boisterous. Eventually, they reached the back door, and the three of them entered the mansion. Immediately, they thought they felt something. It was different from a sense of smell, and it seemed to hit the deep depths of their noses. This hard-to-describe sensation, which you might call a sixth sense, allowed them to perceive something that was different than usual.
源氏様。
急ぐぞ。
A sensation made it feel as though a tense something was pressing around them. There's a fly here. It's annoying me. Realizing that the three of them dashed up the stairs, heading for Kinzo's study, while still hiding their footsteps. When they dashed up the stairs, that smell of sweet poison, particular to Kinzo's study, reached their noses.
いかがなさいましたか、源氏様。
結界が死んでいる。
Oh, so they are all speaking magic words. I still have no clue about how the magic system really works and who has magic or not. It's quite strange that the characters from episode 1 that died so suddenly have all these magical powers shown, but I think that's just theatrical noise, maybe. After hearing Kanon's words, she looked at the door to the study. A scorpion pattern was engraved on the doorknob, a powerful ward against magic. The final barrier, which protected Kinzo himself, had been broken. Of course, there was no change to the doorknob that the eye could see. However, those who could understand things people couldn't perceive were able to recognize that a dramatic change had occurred.
親方様、親方様。
Oh.
源氏でございます。ここをお開けください。
Genji called in this way after knocking several times, but there was no answer from the study.
シャノン、背中を守れ。カノン、室内を探れ。
はい。
What's gonna happen? Kanon put his ear against the door, searching for a presence inside the study. Forget the backs of the pair watching the door. Shannon faced the other way, ready for the unexpected.
親方様はいらっしゃられるはずです。ですが、静かすぎます。
ご無事だということか。
いえ、静かがすぎます。
まさか、そんな。
親方様、扉を失礼させていただきます。
Genji pulled a gold key out of his pocket. It was the only key to the study that existed other than the one Kinzo held. He stuck it in the keyhole and turned it heavily. At first glance, that seemed to prove that it was a sturdy lock. However, now that the barrier had been destroyed, this door might as well have been left open from the viewpoint of anyone with magical power. The heavy sound just now meant that the door had not been opened even for humans.
失礼いたします。
So he's going to be dead now. As Genji respectfully bowed his head, and Kanon's sense of tension grew tighter, and Shannon trembled. They entered the study. Oh, he stood there. They immediately discovered Kinzo's figure. He was sitting on the reception sofa so that his back faced them. Genji noticed the person sitting across from him and again bowed deeply. Kanon also noticed that person, but he didn't bow his head. He stood in front of Shannon and spread out his arms, blocking the way to her. So without even seeing that person's face, Shannon already had a good idea who it was. It's Beatrice.
お越しでございましたか。ベアトリーチェ様。
Oh, the candles dance.
ゲンジか。なかなかに早いな。やはり家具は主の呼びかけに素早く答える方が良い。こやつとは大違いだ。
ロノエ様もお越しでしたか。
Oh, so Genji knows Ronove. Genji directed his greeting towards the thin darkness behind and to the right of Beatrice. There shouldn't have been anything. Even Kanon and Shannon, who would have never imagined that someone was there. However, that darkness responded immediately and praised Genji's eyesight. Also, so Ronove is going to kill everyone this time around, maybe, instead of the stakes.
だいぶの久しぶりになりますね。それにしても老けましたね。それだけの弱いを重ねましたか。
Oh man, Ronove killing everyone is gonna be amazing.
充実した日々を過ごしております。ロノエ様におかれましても、
And
ますま
Ronove
す充実されておりま
does
す。
have
お見受けいたします。
the Shuramiya symbol I see. And it makes me feel a bit weird knowing that there's some connection there.
おかげさまです。そしてシャノンも久しぶりですね。
So Shannon also knows.
君は随分と美しくなった。
Still, this makes me wonder. I'm also suspecting Shannon of being, you know.
そして随分と強くなったようですね。良いことです。
ありがとうございます。
姉さん、あいつは一体。
カノン君とは会うのは初めてになりますね。私はベアトリーチェ様の家具頭を任されておりますロノウェと申します。源氏さんの古い馴染みですよ。あなたと同じに私も家具です。使える主は異なりますが。
The tense color didn't disappear from Kanon's face in this light list. Depending on the master of furniture served, they might be kind or brutal or anything else. If this person claimed to be furniture serving the hated Beatrice, then he must be despicable as well.
わらわもすっかり嫌われたものだ。
Yeah, I wonder why.
坊主憎ければ今朝までなんとかとはよく言ったものよ。
Beatrice openly sneered at Kanon's hate-filled face. Then Kanon finally realized. Beatrice and Kinzo were having a chess game across the reception table, but Kinzo hadn't even quivered. He was holding his head with both hands, his eyes closed tight, as he contemplated his next move. Or was he in anguish?
親方様。
Oh, Kinzo, to die on the first twilight, how fucking bad are you?
わらわが金蔵に伝えたのは2つ。
You created this game and you're going to die on the first night.
良い知らせと悪い知らせだった。良い知らせは儀式を終えずしてわらわと再会できる幸運を得たこと。悪い知らせは金蔵が儀式の一番最初の生贄に選ばれてしまったことだ。
Oh, get fucked.
こればかりはわらわにもどうしようもない。実に気まぐれにルーレットにて決めたのだから。
Oh, sure. I'd say
嘘つ
that.
け。もてあそんで殺しているくせに。
よして、カノン君。
さて金蔵、そろそろ負けを認める気になったのか。 これにてわらわとの長きにわたる勝負は決着だな。
For the bad things that Kinzo has done in his past, raising the way he raised his children, the way he treated the human Beatrice that was imprisoned in Quadorian, he deserves this. He completely deserves what's coming to him. I'm sorry. At a glance, it was hard to make out the situation on that chaotic chessboard. And he was the one who also kind of prepared the game. However, judging by Kinzo's anguish and Beatrice's malicious confidence, it seemed to be over already.
是非もなし。これもまた一興か。
わらわもだ。そなたとの勝負に決着がつくことは万感の思いあれど、もはや恩衆を超える。
Sure, whatever makes you sleep at night.
退屈しない数十年であった。
Beatrice advanced her queen and made her final move, and that decided it.
チェックメイト。これがわらわからそなたへの手向けだ。心置きなく眠れ。
Oh my god. Kinzo suddenly stood up and laughed like an opera singer facing a full crowd and spreading his arms, as though he had succeeded in a century-long plan. Oh my god, that laugh spat crimson. Oh, he's gonna get burned alive. Same as episode 1, huh? Crimson flames poured out from inside him, spitting even out of his mouth, his ears and nose, and all at once his body was wrapped in a hellfire. But Kinzo kept laughing. The more he laughed, the more the hellfire spewed from his entire body and began to char him. Those flames became a brilliant light, which dazzlingly shone on the various magic tools throughout the room, making their distorted shadows dance across the walls. Those shadows looked like the dead in hell, watching over Kinzo in ecstasy as he burned. And for one who had made a contract with the witch, was an extremely fitting end in accordance with those terms. After laughing and howling in the roaring flames for some time, Kinzo flopped to the ground as though he was a puppet whose strings had been cut. Spontaneous combustion, huh? Those incredible blazing flames disappeared as though he had been completely burned up. And afterwards, nothing remained but a festering and burned corpse that one could hardly bear to look at.
むごい。
お前が言うか。ふさわしい死に方だと思っているくせに。
Yeah, it was a fitting way for him to die.
なぜお前が姿を現している？僕たちに何か用だとでも言うのか？
She's going to kill you. What do you think?
よしてカノン君、ベアトリーチェ様を挑発してはダメ。
Doesn't matter. She's going to kill all of you. That's
す
the
っかり
problem.
怯えさせてしまいましたね。
Then she only needs to kill 2 more people, I think.
わらわはつくづ
Maybe
くカノンとは仲良くなれぬようだ。
maybe Kumasawa and Nanjo.
そう嫌いでもないというのにな。
Beatrice grinned. Kanon violently averted his gaze, obviously unhappy. His reaction was so different from what he wanted to do that it made the witch and her butler laugh.
カノン、ベアトリーチェ様の御前であるぞ。言葉遣いに気をつけなさい。
ああ、構わぬぞ源氏。好きに言わせてやれ。わらわは寛大である。
何が寛大だ。
わらわは死にゆく者には、
Yep.
いつだって寛大である。
Kanon was taken aback by that creepy laughter. Beatrice wasn't here to take Kinzo's life. First twilight required 6 sacrifices. Kinzo alone wasn't nearly enough, and they just casually walked in here.
安心せよカノン。そなたらがここに訪れたから生贄に選ばれるのではない。生贄に選ばれているからこそここに呼ばれているんじゃないか。
So let me I see. So this is the first Twilight. So who could have killed all them? Maybe Genji and Shannon and Kanon kidnapped Kinzo and to the boiler room and killed him there. And then Genji and maybe Genji and Shannon killed Kanon, and then Shannon and Genji disappeared for the rest of the game, maybe? Could be a theory. Their instinct. I need to see whose bodies they're going to find so I can. Their instincts were good enough to spot her meaning instantly. 6 sacrifices were required for the first Twilight. After Kinzo, how many more would you need to add up to 6? In this mansion, the number 5 instantly made them think of the number of servants here.
それがお望みですか。
So, thank God that Rudolph is going to survive Kyrie as well. Thank goodness.
感謝せよ家具どもよ。そなたたちの苦難の日々は今宵ようやく終わりを迎えた。それを告げに訪れたわらわに感謝せよ。
かしこまりました。それをお望みでしたら。
源氏様。
Genji had agreed to the witch's heartless announcement with his usual demeanor, without raising an eyebrow.
親方様亡き後はベアトリーチェ様が我らの主、その求めに応じるのが我らの最後の務めだ。シャノン、カノン、今日までよく仕えた。その労苦もこれにて終わりだ。
源氏はさすがですね。同じ家具としてあなたを誇りに思いますよ。
Oh my god, Ronove's voice is so good.
シャノン、異論はないか。
はい。
ジョージ様から指輪を贈られたそうだが、それでもなお未練はないか。
Yeah, this feels like Ronove. Ronove and Ronove. What the fuck is happening here? Are they the same? They're the same person, right? They're the same people. Oh, I see. So I'm guessing right. Genji and Shannon are working together, and Shannon might be the Beatrice that's killing everybody. Might be the culprit. And Genji is working with her. So that's what's happening here. And Kanon is objecting to all this while they are accepting of it. So this makes me feel like, yeah, there's no doubts now. Shannon couldn't take quite as much of a philosophical view as Genji. There probably were regrets left in her heart. She probably wanted to spend a little more warm time with the person she cared for, Genji. Oh, George. Sorry. But she released herself from that. She took a single deep breath and a blank expression rose to her face.
それでよい。
シャノンがそこまでの落ち着きを得るとは少し驚きでした。あなたも家具として達観したようですね。
惚れた男と夜も共にできず少しは悔し涙をこぼさんのか。退屈な女よ。
ベアトリーチェ様ごときにこの気持ちはわかりません。私たちの命をご所望でしたらどうぞお受け取りください。私たちは謹んでそのお務めを全うします。
Now Beatrice and Shannon are making a lot more sense. So I think Beatrice might be an alternate personality of Shannon. Self-critical of her, I think.
それでいい。よくぞ言ったな。
And Ronove might be an alternate personality of Genji. Might.
ベアトリーチェ様の苦手なタイプのようで。
Like the hidden snark of Genji.
最近小集めは
And Beatrice is the critical part, self-critical part of Shannon.
どうも前回いじめすぎたようだ。それを言ったらバトラもか。わらわはまだぬるいのか、それとも追い詰め方が下手なのか。
The way you corner them is lacking completely.
いずれにせよ面白みのないやつよ。
Now it makes more sense why Beatrice.
しかしお前はまだわらわを楽しませてくれそうだよな。
Beatrice seems so focused on Shannon and Kanon as well, since she's like an alternate personality of Shannon, I think.
カノン君。
Yeah, it's either Shannon or Rosa. And I think I'm leaning more towards Shannon, I think. Compared to the two who had a far-sighted approach, there was a painful anguish on Kanon's face. Kanon was still far too young to accept his demise, to be told off it by a suddenly appearing witch.
カノン、わらわは退屈を何より嫌う。そしてお前を除く二人が素直に死を受け入れるもので面白くない。だからそなたにはわらわの期待を裏切らないでもらいたいものだ。
僕を慰み者にしようというのか。
Kanon realized that he was being provoked. However, no matter how furiously anger spurred him on, his opponent was a witch. And it makes sense for Shannon to be, because she could have manipulated Maria since she was young, since Shannon was there 10 years in the past, serving the family. He was furniture. Had a chance of victory from the beginning. The witch was expecting that he struggled in vain and writhed about, and was even looking forward to it. Just thinking about that was frustrating enough to get his blood boiling. Was disappointing the witch by refusing to resist like the other two. The only way he could strike back at her?
煉獄の七姉妹が長女、ルシ
so
ファー。
Ronove is not killing them. That's so sad.
いでよ。
Oh, Lucifer.
傲慢のルシファー、ここに。カノン、家具に魔女と戦えというのも酷な話よ。そなたがいくら怒りに駆られようとも、勝算のない戦いでは希望も持てまい。無論、勝ち目のない戦いでは、わらわも退屈というもの。
Battle of Pride, so.
ならば、家具は家具。家具同士で決着をつけてはどうか。それならば、勝てる希望も持てるであろう。恐れながらベアトリーチェ様。
Oh man, this is... if... taking out the wool from my eyes and taking out the illusions right here, then this scene is very sad. Kanon is getting betrayed by Shannon.
私がそのような出来損ないの家具に劣るようなことがありましょうか。こんな可愛い子に私が万一にも負けるようなことなど。
Kanon, I feel so sorry for you, my man. Getting betrayed like this
我が家具、
by
煉獄
Genji
の
and
七杭
Shannon.
を打ち破ってみせよ。 見事打ち破ってみせたなら、そうだな。13人の生贄を逃れることのできる5人をそなたに自由に決めさせてやろう。
Jessica will be one of
そ
them.
なたの推薦する5人をわらわは無条件にて黄金鏡に迎え入れる。それならばどうか。
Kanon understood that he was being provoked. However, the witch's offer was very tempting. By this point, Kanon couldn't care less about his evil ceremony the witch and the rest were trying to carry out. On the contrary, it was much more important that he remain alive so he could be invited into the Golden Land and have his wish granted by Beatrice there.
そなたは家具は嫌だと泣いたな。そなたの望み叶えてやろうぞ。枕を濡らしてまで望んだ人間の体を与えてやろうぞ。どうだ？そうすればジェシカとも結ばれるぞ。おお、ちょうどよい。黄金鏡へ招ける5人にジェシカとそなたを推薦すればよい。自分だけが幸せになることに抵抗があるならば、さらにシャノンとその思い人であるジョージを加えればよい。義理があるならばさらにゲンジも加えればよい。おお、これで5人だ。十分ではないか、カノン。これだけのご褒美があればそなたはわらわを退屈させはしないよな。
どうせ戯れよ。耳を貸す必要はない。
僕は嫌だ。姉さんはそれでいいの？
Beatrice couldn't hide her evil smile at those words.
僕は嫌だ。幸せになりたい。家具なんてもう嫌だ。人間になって普通の恋がしたい。僕も姉さんのように海が青いってことを知りたいんだ。
若いですね。羨ましい。
だから若者は好きなのだ。ゲンジ、シャノンは下がれ。
Oh my god, the music.
カノン、ルシファーは前へ。
仰せのままに。気に入らないわ。
Oh man.
ベアトリーチェ様は無理でも。
Are we going to have a shonen battle?
私にだったら勝てるかもしれないという見下しが
Come on.
最高に気に入ら
Come
な
on,
いわ。
Kanon. Show her your mighty sword. That was probably humiliating for Lucifer. At the same time, she was also happy that she was lucky enough to have this adorable prey all to herself.
恋、魔女の家具。いつまでも僕を見くびることができると思うな。
Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm getting hype. Come on. Don't die so fast, Kanon. Oh, she's also has this. Oh no! Hmm.
さあさバトラー、楽しい見せ物の時間であるぞ。
Is she showing this to Battler?
またおかしなことになりやがった。魔法バトルなんて認めてたまるかよ。
You can just get hype about it. In the end, if you pull the illusion,
ほらほら、
and it's
目を
just
つむらずにちゃんと見ろよ。
Kanon struggling against Genji and Shannon trying to kill him.
ほらほらほらほら、魔法だよ、家具だよ。そなたがどんなにわらわや魔法の存在を否定しようとも、ほらほらほらほらほらほら、こうして目の前でブオンブオンカキンカキンやられちゃ台無しだよな。
Oh my god, she's so good.
ほらほらほらほら、もう思考なんて止めちまえよ。魔法はあるんだって。これはファンタジーなんだって。 目を
Oh
閉
my
じるな
god,
よ。
I'm
しっかり見ろよ。ほらほらほらほらほら。
Oh my god.
畜生
She's so good.
畜生畜生畜生魔性を認めない魔法を認めないでもこんなにあからさまにやられちまったらなんだっていやいいんだ
You're supposed to see what's really happening behind it
クソ
all.
クソ
ほら目を背けるなよ。しっかり見ろよ。魔法はあるんだよ。ファンタジーなんだよ。推理ごっことかやめちまえよ。知ってんだよ。ものを考えんの
Oh
本
my
当は
God.
苦手なんだろう。やめちまえやめちまえ。ほらほらどうせファンタジーどうせファンタジー。
うるせえうるせえうるせえ俺に話しかけるんじゃね
こいつ意地になっちゃって。私になら勝てるなんて思
Are
い
we
上が
going
り
to
をし
get a
たこと。
flashback in the
今す
middle
ぐ
of the
床に
fight?
這いつくばって謝ってごらんなさい。そうしたら特別に許してあげても
We
い
need
い
to
わ
have
よ。
a flashback, a power up, a moment of friendship as well.
生きながら生皮を剥がして絶命するまで全身を鞭打ってのたうち回らすのを特別に許してあげてもいいわよ。
We already have the villain monologuing during the fight about how powerful they are,
可
about
愛い子なん
how
だから
they're going to
謝っちゃいなさいよ。
destroy you.
そうしたらあなただけは最高に素敵な気分の中で優しく優しく生かせてあげる。
Lucifer is going on the sadistic approach.
黙れ魔女の家具。お前と問答するつもりはない。
私なんか眼中にないという
Oh
の
no,
ね。
she's getting angry.
気に入らないわ。本当に気に入らないわ。
She's getting angry about words. Come on. You live like for hundreds of years and then get angry about a few lines. Come on.
カノン君
She really is pride. And they're just
あ
watching.
やつサタンの時よりも筋がいいではないか。
だから人間は恐ろしいのです。たまに魔女にまでなり悪魔を執事扱いにしたりいたしますよ。
Oh, well.
わらわはどちらを応援すればよいというのか。
こいつ私と互角に渡り合うというの。
Oh no.
見くびるな。
Is Kevin going to win?
お前にそのおごりがある限り僕には決して勝てない。
So,
私がこの煉獄の七姉妹が長女ルシファーを指して決して勝てないと。こんな
oh, I'm sorry. Oh, so she. Oh my god. Kanon was desperately trying to stay alive, and he had a strong desire to become human. Lucifer didn't feel anything stronger than a slight desire to play, so that led to an inevitable result. It was a result that could be reached by the power of humans, power of the heart.
これまでだ。お前は僕に決して勝てない。
The glowing red curve extended straight out from Kanon's arms, pointing at Lucifer's throat, just beneath the tip of their chin.
何よこれ。この私がこんなの。
Oh my god, she's monologuing like an anime villain. As she ground her teeth in irritation, she tried to deny the truth right before her eyes. But no matter how much she believed in her own superiority, it didn't change the facts right in front of her.
ほう、やるなカノン、見事だ。わらわを退屈させなかった。それに比べ、わらわの家具のなんと情けないことか。
ルシファー、お嬢様を退屈させていますよ。やはりあなたには荷が勝ちすぎた相手でしたか？
失望するぞ、七君の
Oh my
長女。
god. Oh, oh great. We haven't seemed like a mere rebuke to an outsider. However, furniture serving the witch knew that what kind of severe treatment was promised by that rebuke, and understood that what had been left unsaid. Oh. Is she going to get killed by Ronove? She howled. Abandoning her last bit of pride, she made her body explode, exposing her true form. That form was a demon's stake, which bounced off the walls surrounding the room.
よくも私にここまで恥をかかせたな。殺す殺す殺す殺す、このぬるまが私の姿をもはや追うこともできないくせに。もう遊ばないよ。本気で怒ったわよ。お前の心臓を一撃で貫いてやるよ。ぶっすりざっくり貫いて真っ赤な血の噴水を天井にまで届かせてやるよ。死ねー。
And when a villain monologues like that, they cannot win. And he's going to avoid it and say nothing personal, kid. Oh, after flying about widely for some time with a speed approaching the limits of what a human eye could follow, Lucifer flew at Kanon's heart. She could tell it was Kanon's blood by the sweet taste of it. She quickly noticed one thing. She hadn't pierced his heart.
ほう。
これだから人間は恐ろしい。紅茶はいかがですかな？
今はよい。紅茶もいらぬほどに面白い。
カノン君。
So he was hit, but maybe he redirected it.
だからお前は僕に勝てないんだ。
The floor was stained with dripping blood. It really was Kanon's blood, but it wasn't flowing out of his chest. Kanon has to sacrifice his own left hand to protect his heart. Lucifer was arrogant. Even though she'd been given enough time to realize that this was an opponent capable of cornering her. In her pride, she had believed him to be worthless. And she has gotten careless. So, just as she had announced, she had aimed for his chest, trying to pierce his heart. Because she was arrogant, she hadn't even thought of aiming for somewhere other than the place she had announced. No, maybe she had thought about it a little. However, her pride would not allow her to aim for a different spot. After all, she was Lucifer of pride. Kanon, withstanding the pain, grasped at the demon's stake sticking deep into his left hand strongly with his right hand, and pulled it out. Wow, that's so badass. And she heard the sound of breaking bone, even more blood dripping down. Shannon looked away reflexively. There was an air hole in the back of the pierced hand, so big you could clearly see through the other side to the other side. Kanon's face was filled with pain, but right now, he had won without a doubt. So, Shannon tried to stab him, but he blocked it with his right hand, and Shannon flinched at that, at not killing him. So that's what happens here. The demon's stake he was gripping with his right hand turned back into Lucifer again. So that Kanon was now gripping exactly where her neck was. Oh, she's crying. No.
僕の勝ちだ、ベアトリーチェ。
Kanon didn't hold back at all with the hand gripping Lucifer's throat. She had challenged him again after the fight had already been decided. Kanon had an obligation to be considerate. But even so, Kanon released the witch's furniture. Was it his naive humanism, his pity for another furniture, or a final bit of respect to the witch? In any case, when she was released, Lucifer fell face down onto the ground, retching and moaning all over the pain in her throat.
お見事ですよ、カノン。あなたの奮闘により、金蔵の研究の正しさが一つ実証されました。
Ronove was clapping his hands. To Kanon, who had won at a great cost and had a wound on his left hand, that wouldn't close. Ronove's applause only felt like mockery.
人の心はあらゆる可能性を秘めるか。いやはやこれだから人間は恐ろしい。あっぱれであるぞカノン。そなたは勝利した。見事だ。
And they're saying humans to Kanon, acknowledging that he's not a furniture. And then saying again he's furniture, saying that he's human, saying that he's furniture. Contradicting themselves. Ah, man, this is so hard to understand sometimes, but still, I think I got it. Shannon and Genji. Ah. Still, Shannon, it doesn't explain some things yet. Not her whole connection to the Beatrice that died. Shannon ran up to him and wrapped her handkerchief around his left hand, which was still spraying blood.
見事であるぞカノン。実に見事である。わらわも少しは番狂わせを期待した。それを裏切らぬとは。そなたは誠に素晴らしき家具であるぞ。
Furniture, human, humanity.
正直見直したぞ。
約束を忘れてはいないだろうな、ベアトリーチェ。
もちろん忘れてはおらぬぞ。魔女も悪魔も非道ではある。だがしかし契約に限っては人間など及ばぬほどに高潔だ。
Yeah, she says that she never broken a promise. I don't think that's true.
わらわは保護にはせぬ。
Broken promises, yeah, that was one of the motives
そ
as
なた
well.
が勝利したなら13人の生贄を逃れることができる5人を自由に決める権利を保証した。
I wonder which promise was broken actually.
ベアトリーチェ様、
Breaking free as well fits Shannon as well.
私はまだ破れたわけでは。
Oh. Oh. When Beatrice waved her pipe, heaven and earth turned over just for Lucifer. So as a horribly natural result, she fell onto the ceiling. The ceiling doesn't seem that high to people standing on the floor. However, people who fall on it upside down and head first usually don't agree.
お嬢様、さすがにやりすぎでは。
それもそうであるな。許してやるか。
Beatrice waved her pipe again, and she dropped on the floor. When she did, the magic that had been affecting Lucifer was released. So, as a horribly natural result, this time she fell properly back onto the floor. Those noises. Oh, she's...
ベアトリーチェ様、お許しを。
Oh god, she's being bullied.
何を怯えておるか。わらはもはや許したぞ。さてカノン、続けようではないか。
何をだ、まさか彼女にとどめを刺せとでも言うつもりなのか。
ああ、違う違う、まだ終わっちゃいないだろうが。
何をだ、はぐらかすな。
わらわは確かにそなたと約束したぞ。
Monkey's paw yet again.
わらわの家具煉獄の七杭を打ち破ったならとな。さあさあおいでなさい、煉獄の七杭。不甲斐なき長女の6人の妹たち。
So she can just summon endless furniture until he dies. Fuck off. Oh, there they are. Oh my god. The air is split with a shrill laughter, and as a golden splash scattered about, the remaining 6 sisters of purgatory show themselves. So, out of all of them, who do I like the most? Belphegor, the black-haired one. I know her voice. I love her. I love that voice. Satan, the white-haired one, and throw in the green-haired one. I think it's either Asmodeus or I don't know. The green-haired one is the envy one. I don't know who she is, but she's the third favorite. The rest are interchangeable. And Lucifer as well, competing for 3rd place, I think. All the 7 sisters of purgatory were here after Kanon was able to defeat one only by sacrificing his left arm. By now, Kanon regretted his thoughtlessness in accepting the witch's challenge. He had been foolish to assume that a game against the witch would be on an even footing. No, it's not Asmodeus. Oh no, are they going to bully their own sister?
お前たち
Oh shit.
だからお姉様はダメなのよ。
Mammon. So Asmodeus, Mammon.
長女を偉そうに名乗るくせに上っ面だけなのよ。まったく。
Oh, Satan, your voice.
ルシファーお姉様一人の集体が私たちへの評価を下げるのよ。恥を知りなさいな、この未熟者が。
And her personality as well.
カノンくん、すごいすごい。
Oh, Beelzebub.
でもいい気にならないことよ。
Okay, she's my 4th place.
ルシファーお姉様なんて威張ってるだけで姉妹の子じゃ大したことないんだから。
だからルシファー姉は何もしなくていいといつも言っている。
Oh my god, her voice is so good, Belphegor.
お姉様は威張ってだけいればいい。荒事はすべて優秀な私たちで片付けるのだから。
Oh, her voice is so good.
お姉様、どうする？
Oh, Leviathan, so the envy one.
私たちはお姉様のプライドを尊重して、そのボロボロの体で再び挑むのを期待して手出しをしないつもりなんだけれど、でもカノン君は強いわよね。今のお姉様じゃもうどうあがいても勝ち目はないわよね。
So they're all the sins, and maybe they're also.
お前たち。
I think there may be also self-critical parts of Shannon, maybe.
やれやれ、いつも賑やかな姉妹たちであるな。今は仲違いをしている場合か。 そなたらは7人揃ってこその煉獄の7姉妹であろうが、仲良くしてわらわの仕事を遂行せよ。迅速にな。
ねえルシファーお姉様、私たち妹の力が借りたいなら言ってよ。お姉様の口から助けを求める言葉が聞きたいの。
私をこれ以上苦労する気か。
愚かでひ弱で見苦しくて情けないこの長女のルシファーをどうか妹の皆様お助けください。ねえ聞かせてよ。それを聞かせてくれたら助けてあげる。それでいいわよねみんな。
I'm waiting for Lucifer to get back at her sisters later on in the series. Please let it happen.
お前たちおのれ。
Oh, imagine if Lucifer just straight up kills everyone later in the game. The seven sisters of Purgatory unanimously closed in on their worthless sister, abusing her. Even Kanon, who had been fighting for his life until seconds ago, couldn't bear to look at it.
私がそのようなことを口にできるものか。
早くせよ。どうせお前一人では拉致が開かぬわ。早く7姉妹にてカノンを撃て。
そら、どうしましたかルシファー。お嬢様の命令ですよ。
Oh.
ひどい。
So that's the true colors of Ronove. After grinding her teeth over and over after hearing her sister's curses, Lucifer trembled all over and answered her sister's request. So that's why. So that's why everyone has the Ushiramiya symbol on their clothes.
情けないこの長女ルシファーをどうか。
The girl known as Pride was finally unable to endure the words she was saying and broke down crying. However, the 6 younger sisters kept giggling cold-heartedly. Oh.
ちょっと泣いてごまかさないで。
Asmodee.
まだいいっつってない。
もう十分だろう。
Oh, Belphegor.
さあ姉妹たち、我らの力を見せてやろう。私は全部聞かなきゃ満足しないわよ。ほらほらお姉様、続けてよ。もう十分よ。さあこの屈辱は姉妹全員の屈辱。生かして返しはしないわよ。
さて哀れな家具をどのように遊んでやろうかしら。素敵な提案はある？はいはい。ベルゼは仲良く7人でカノン君を分けっこしたらいいと思います。
良い提案だな。それでなら姉妹でみんな仲良しだ。
なら私頭部ね。手足はあんたらにあげるわ。やだやだ、ダメ。私が頭なの。
そんな約束意味があるわけないでしょ。早い者勝ちに決まってるわ。
どんな殺され方がいいかカノン君の提案があったら教えてね。7姉妹でとびっきりの殺し方を
Kanon,
してあ
just
げる。
double down and stand your ground and say that you'll kill all of them. Double down. Don't look desperate. Stay like battler.
ここまで恥をかかせたんだもの。八つ咲きでも足りない。百咲きにしてくれる。行くよお前たち。
お姉様。
Seven of them burst at once. They had no intention of playing or boasting. This time they would genuinely follow their master's orders. take Kanon down swiftly. Ah, goodbye, Kanon. The seven sisters jumped all around the room, faster than the eye could see, examining how they could best kill Kanon. They tortured Kanon with their cruel giggles, sometimes making a close pass at him. They kept scraping his arms, shoulders, and cheeks, gradually carving red letters into his body. At that moment, Shannon dashed up behind him, holding on to him so that she blocked the way to his body, at least a little. At the same time, a red cylinder wrapped around the two of them, like a beam of light sent from heaven. That cylinder repelled the evil ones who tormented Kanon.
あんたは関係ないでしょ。きっとこれはあれよ。私たちと一緒に遊びたいのよ。なら私がもらうわ。いっただき。
ベアトリーチェ様、シャノンを私たちの獲物にしても？
ああ、構わんぞ、好きにしろ。
It's making more and more sense.
お前たちの悪事記にはカノン一人では足らなかろうしな。
ありがたき幸せ。さあ、シャシャリ出てきたことを後悔させてやろう。
どっちがどっちかわからないくらいの肉片にして、混ぜてミンチにしてハンバーグにしてあげる。
バカね。それよりあの結界を破る方が先でしょうが。食い意地より先に仕事しなさい。はい、お姉さ
ん。As a horribly natural first reaction, the Seven Sisters began to destroy the barrier Shannon had created. Shannon's barrier certainly was strong. It was powerful enough to impress even Beatrice. With its strength, frail furniture would turn to dust just by touching it. And it was firm, like a tree with deep roots. No matter how big a tree gets, it will eventually surrender to a saw or a hatchet. For the Seven Sisters, chopping down Shannon's barrier would be annoying, but not impossible. A sound like beetles jumping about grew even fiercer and filled the room. The red barrier began to be cut up and eroded away as though with a hatchet. A saw? No, a chainsaw by now.
愚かな。君の結界ではその子たちを防ぎきれないことは知っていたでしょうに。なぜ？
見過ごせないからです。
As Shannon covered Kanon, who was already at his limits, sprawled on the floor, she spoke back resolutely.
シャシャリでなければ眠るような死を与えてやったのに、なぜわざわざ七姉妹の前に身をさらすのか。死は同じではないぞ。苛烈な死は死してなお苛むぞ。
どうぞお好きなように、あなたがしたいことを好きにするように、私もしたいことを好きにしたまでです。
どうにもそなたはこのところ面白みに欠けるな。
Yeah, it makes too much sense.
恋というやつは達するかどうかのあたりが一番面白い。達してしまった後の女はさながら産卵を終えた鮭のごとしか。そなたにはもう飽きた。
ありがとう。魔女から聞ける言葉で最も嬉しい言葉です。
Oh my god, doesn't matter, Beatrice.
ならせめて最後にわらわを思いっきり喜ばせる死に方をしてみせろよ。七姉妹を聞こえたな。シャノンの殺し方、お前たちの残虐の限りを見せてみよ。
シャノン、
申し訳ございません。やはり私には源氏様の高みには至れませんでした。
姉さんはバカだ。奥なんか放っておけば 姉さんまでひどい目に遭うことは。
いいの。ジョージ様に指輪をもらって女として生きられたあなたをかばって姉として生きられた私の生は全てこれで未練なく全うした。
イライラするぜ。その達観が本当にイラつくぜ。だから家具なんだよ。お前からは人間の匂いがしねえんだよ。わらわを見ろよ。わらわこそ人間だろうが。家具のくせにわらわよりも完成されたかのような達観したかのようなことを言うんじゃねえ。
醜い。その未練があなたの正体なの。
未練じゃねえ。それが生きるってもんだ。指輪もらったから死んでもいいとか。理解できねえ。さっぱりがっかり愕然呆然。全然ダメだぜ。
お嬢様、少し品がないかと。
うるさいわ家具が。シャノン、楽に死なせてもらえると思うなよ。舌を噛むなら今のうちだ。
哀れね。もしも私の目にあなたのその姿が映ってそれが見えるなら己が醜さにおののくといい。
安心しろよ。てめえはそれよりさらにめちゃくちゃぐちゃぐちゃに生きながら醜く潰してやるからよ。
Oh my god, their voice is so good. At that time, Genji softly entered the red barrier. Perhaps that barrier didn't block those without ill intent. Then Genji gently held her from behind and covered her eyes with his right hand.
源氏様。
十分だ。先に休みなさい。
はい、ありがとうございます、源氏様。
He's going to kill her. After that, Genji softly pressed his left hand near her collarbone. As he did, emanating from that area, a crimson stain gently spread out. He's going to kill her. When Genji removed his hand, a bright red flesh blood oozed out of there. Oh, I see what's happening here. Oh, fuck. Only it happened for the first instant and was shaped like a crimson rose. So basically, Genji killed her doubts. And when he removed his right hand covering her face, there was a peaceful expression there, as though she was sleeping. And she felt softly, silently, and slept. Oh my god. What is this music? Her soul had already been sent to a world where the malicious witch and her furniture could not reach her, no matter how evilly they tortured her. This scene left Beatrice and the Seven Sisters stunned. Only Ronove wore a mysterious smile. Then Genji leaned over Kanon, who was crouching on the floor.
よく頑張った。お前ももう休むといい。
はい、ありがとうございます、ケンジ様。
Just as he had done with Shannon, he softly covered Kanon's eyes with his hand, then gently pressed the area around Kanon's collarbone with his other hand. And when his hand was removed with the lightness of a feather, there was a crimson rose there. That rose shape quickly turned into the stain of a bright red blood pouring out.
何よそれ。
つまらぬやつ。生命の風船は針にてつき、威勢よく割るから面白いのだろうが。
見事です、源氏。それでこそ家具です。
ありがとうございます。それではベアトリーチェ様、ロノウェ様、これをもって 私の最後のお務めとし、おいとまをさせていただきます。
わらわの楽しみを勝手に奪いおって、この二人をギッタギタのぐっちゃぐちゃにしたかった分、そなたがそれを変わるのであろうね。
It's not gonna work. Beatrice faced him with an unsatisfied expression. But Ronove spoke quietly to Genji with a soothing smile.
ご苦労でした。あなたは私の最高のしもべです。
You are my greatest servant. Later
これ
on,
まで
I'll
の
look
労を
at.
ねぎらうに値する安らかな眠りをあなたへの最後の褒美として取らせましょ
う。おい、勝手な真似を。
When Ronove snapped his fingers, Genji slumped to the floor like a puppet with his strings cut, suddenly and yet gently. He crumpled, falling into a sleep that no witch could ever call him back from. It was as filled with kindness as the sleep he had given Shannon and Kanon. So now Shannon and Genji are dead. Shannon and Genji are dead. Beatrice and Ronove are left. I see how it is. And poor Kanon is dead.
拍子抜けでつまらぬぞ。
お嬢様は偉大なる大魔女ではございませんか。この程度気に留めるほどにもございませんよ。シャノンごときの挑発で頭に血を上らせるなどらしくもない。
What was it that had Beatrice so irritated? Was she still unable to remove the thorn of Shannon's words? Ronove laughed lightly, as though lamenting the complexity of humanity and a woman's heart, and ordered the seven sisters to go. After all, there were still 2 sacrifices left for the first twilight. 7 sisters disappeared in ecstasy. Two more victims. Goda was doing the nighttime rounds. Rokenjima had always been empty except for the Ushormiya family household, so checking the doors and windows were all closed had no real purpose. However, ever since the time Natsu had condemned such an attitude as being careless, the nighttime rounds had become a part of the servant's daily routine. In the first place, Natsu had ordered this because of the occasional witch disturbances. Everyone who came and left this island knew about the legend of Beatrice, the Witch of the Forest. It had become established as this island's characteristic ghost story. Because of that, it was only natural that some people claimed that when they thought that they were alone in the mansion. They would hear a strange sound or see a shadow of a person. However, when that created a little too much of a disturbance and reached Natsu's ears, she made a fuss, thinking that some suspicious person might have been entering and leaving. Apparently, she had roused all the servants and had them check throughout the mansion. Because of that, of the panic over the witch had happened before Goda's arrival, he had only heard about it from the more senior servants. Ghost stories like that could be found in any workplace, even at the hotels and restaurants Goda had worked at. There had been plenty of them. So when he heard about that story on this island, he'd given a forced smile, thinking, so they have that kind of thing here after all. That forced smile aside, he had figured that when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and had taken it seriously. Goda went along with it on the outside, but his heart he assumed it to be a childish trick. At first, that is.
これは確かに不気味ですね。なるほど。過去の使用人たちがいろいろと騒ぎたくなる気持ちもわかるものです。
Oh, so this is how he is alone. You could understand how someone doing the rounds on an eerie night like this might believe they seen a ghost if they saw a lace curtain waving in the breeze from a window that hadn't been closed.
肖像画の魔女をバカにするとたたりがあるか。大怪我をして辞めた使用人もいるらしいし、怪我は勘弁だな。俺もこの年だ。二度とこんな厚遇の職場には恵まれねえだろうよ。ああ、肖像画の魔女様、真面目に働きますんで、一つ穏便に頼みます。
Goda prayed to the portrait, his hands together, as though he was in a Shinto shrine. And then comes in a stake, right through the heart. At that time, he thought he heard a sound. The kitchen? Was that the sound of something metal falling on the floor? Maybe a mouse or a cockroach had come out and knocked over some dishes. No, how could that be? It was usually clean thoroughly. He checked out what noise had been. Goda entered the kitchen. He turned on the kitchen light. When he did, he heard a strange sound. Clank, 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 clank. To a cook like Goda, the sound felt like the lid on a pressure cooker or something shaking. Surely, there wouldn't be a pot on the burner when no one was in the kitchen. Even if someone was using the gas, walking away from it would be quite dangerous. Holy shit, this is getting to like a horror atmosphere right now. Just in case, Goda decided to inspect the area around the gas range.
When
he did, in the corner with the gas range, the pressure cooker really had been set out just as he thought. The flame wasn't on. Yet the lid was clanking. Was it something fermenting and leaking gas? How could that be? Then there was a mouse or something inside. How could that be? Ridiculous. When people were watching, Goda acted as though he had a bold personality fitting for his build. He actually had an unexpectedly timid side to him. He was frightened that there might be something inside, and he couldn't bring himself to check in carelessly. In his cowardice, he grabbed a nearby wooden pestle, and with a clunk, he tapped it a little forcefully against the side of the pressure cooker. When he did, the clanking sound suddenly stopped. He should have been relieved that it had stopped. The fact that he had stopped when he hit it was even more eerie. It made him even more suspicious about what was inside. Oh my god, it's getting so creepy. It's getting so like horror-like.
この世に怪奇現象なんて存在しませんとも。そんな魔女も魔法もそんなもの存在するわけがない。すべての現象は科学的に説明できるんです。お化けも魔女もいてたまるもんですか。
He repeated that many times, trying to build up his own confidence. The gap between what he was saying and what he was doing was quite comical.
何が魔女だ。何が魔法だ。たたりだ。そら、正体を見せてみろ。
Oh my god, it's gonna be a stake right through the heart.
そら。
He removed the lid of the pressure cooker. Lying exposed that was the sparkling clear silver bottom of the pot. There was absolutely nothing frightening like he'd imagined.
そりゃ当然です。中に何もいるわけがない。
By now, Goda realized that he had been a coward. So, while he had some doubts as to why he caused the lid to make a sound, he figured it wasn't a big problem, decided not to worry about it too much. And he took the lid he grabbed and softly sat back down where he had been. It's fine, it won't make a sound. Of course it won't, if witches and magic could exist. Clank. Clank, 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 clank. Clank, 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 clank. Clank, 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 clank. Oh. All the pots and dishes in the kitchen started clanking at once. It grew even stronger, so that finally the lid to one of the pots fell off. And from inside that pot, a slender white arm reached out. Lids fell off the pots one after another, and another, and another. Umineko is a horror game. When the number of arms grew to 7, a loud shrill laughter split the air.
がっかり。これほどの美味しいお料理を作れる人がこんな小物なんて本当にがっかり。あんたいらないんなら私がもらうわ。ちょっとダメだってば。私がもらうんだから。
I'm sorry, Goda. I quite like your point of view, actually. Come on, let's search. There's only one more. That old hag. Where is she? She's in the mansion. What about the guest house? Hehehe. First one wins, right? Come on, search, find her. Don't be noticed by the relatives in the dining hall, right? Don't get noticed by the kids in the guest house, right? Search in silence, kill in silence. After all, it's just the first twilight. She isn't in the guest house. She wasn't in the mansion, right? Either, right? Hey, I found her. She's in the rose garden. Why is she standing around there without an umbrella? She's already given up. All mine. You blockheads can just sit there and watch. As I suspected. I told you, no, this one's mine. Come on, if it take any longer, we'll be scolded by Beatrice-sama. Let's take care of it all at once. There, found her, surround her. Come on, let's get along and do it all at once, okay? Die. As I fucking suspected it. You are the Beatrice from before. Fucking knew it.
やんちゃなお嬢さんたちだこと。あの子のお友達かしら。
何こいつ。ババアのくせに。何かの間違いよ。もう一度。
So how was she killed in the last two twilights?
こいつ、どうして私たちを防げるの？どいて！もう一度よ！
何度やっても無駄だ。この個人できる。
私はあの子を待っているのです。どうか呼んできてはくれませんか？
そのようなデッチ暴行、私たちがすると思う？
Her mother figure. I see. So how does it tie into
その必
Shannon?
要はない。
ベアトリーチェ様。
I guess it's
私が権限
because
するほどでございます。
Kumasawa also raised Shannon, maybe?
必ずやお目覚めと思いました。
ロノウェイ、久しぶりですね。
Oh, Genji and Kumasawa. I see.
本当に久しぶりです。
こいつ、ロノウェ様を呼びつけに。
そしてあなたもお久しぶりですね、ベアトリーチェ。
こいつ、ベアトリーチェ様までも呼びつけに。
よい。そのお方をどなたと心得るか。ベアトリーチェとはそもそもそのお方の名。 わらわはそれを受け継いだに過ぎぬ。
Yep.
そのお方こそはわらわの師匠
I see.
先代ベアトリーチェ教だ。
先代ベアトリーチェ教。
So all of her anger and hatred didn't work on her mother figure. Gold butterflies appeared in ones and twos from the garden of roses and began to gather around Kumasawa. Then after she was wrapped in a golden sparkle, she burst and disappeared, and Kumasawa's form was no longer there. Oh, so that's why Kumasawa knew everything. Instead, there was another golden witch, the one who once taught the path of an endless wish to Beatrice, the only person Beatrice ever called teacher. Her hair was long, beautiful, and vividly youthful. The figure was that of an elegant dress, couldn't possibly have been mistaken for an old lady. No, this looked like a completely different person from Kumasawa. Really? I mean,
これはお師匠様。
it looks like a little bit similar though.
再びお会いできる日が訪れるとは夢にも思いませんでした。
Her manner of speech was the same.
ええ、私もですよ。
Yeah, her voice is different, but her manner of speech.
よもやまた眠りを妨げられるとは夢にも思いませんでした。
まったく厄介なところでお目覚めになられる。いつもの通りお休みであられたなら第一の晩を何も手こずることなく終えられるのに、いやむしろ歓迎すべきですから。少々退屈しておりましたところで。
相変わらず悪趣味な遊びで罪もない人々をもてあそんでいるようですね。無限の魔女の力は決して人に迷惑をかけることに使ってはならないと何度も教えたはずですよ。
そう言うなよ、お師匠様。退屈は私たちの天敵じゃありませんか。それから逃れるためのちょっとしたスパイスに過ぎませんよ。侵食が進めば進むほどにわらわの力は強くなり、わらわの眷属は呼び出しやすくなる。しかしそれは同時にお師匠様の封印を解くことにもつながったとはな。
So that's the explanation why she didn't appear in the last two games.
それを予見していたからこそ私はこうしてあなたのすぐ近くで眠りについたのですよ。願わくば二度と起こされぬことを夢見ながら、こうしてあなたと再会してしまったのは私にとってはとても悲しいことです。
相変わらずお師匠様は食えないな。
ロノウェ、家具の子たちを下げなさい。家具は主に仕えるだけです。すべての罪は主が背負います。
かしこまりました、マダム・ベアトリーチェ。
その名はもうその子に譲りました。
Oh, her face.
さあ下がりなさい、家具の娘たち。私は一度聞かぬとしても二度言います。しかし三度目は口にしませんよ。
下がりなさい、煉獄の七姉妹。
Oh, are we going to see
巻き添え
Beatrice
になれ
fight?
ば塵と化しますよ。
下がれみんな。
Ronove and the Seven Sisters of Purgatory retreated. After that, what remained was the Beatrice, whose daring expression didn't falter, and the teacher Beatrice, who had given up the name and wore a composed smile.
さてお師匠様、久しぶりの再会にはどんなお茶のご用意が良いかな。
そうですね、ほうき星の訪れよりも久しい再会です。もてなしてもらいましょうか。粗相があるようならば返してもらいますよ。
無限の魔女にも免許更新制度があったとはな。仰せのままにお師匠様、あなたの弟子がどれほど立派になったか、そして とっくの昔にどれほどあなたを凌駕したか、とくとご覧に入れましょう。
So this Beatrice, I see. The air between the two Beatrices seemed to explode with sparks. Oh. Oh, this is good. Just by glaring at each other, they purged all spirits from that space. As they watched, the seven sisters shivered. For all, if they had retreated just 3 steps less than they had, it would have been turned to dust by now.
さあ、いらっしゃい、ベアトリーチェ。あなたにその名を譲ったことが私の生涯でただ一度の後悔です。その過ちを今自らの手で修正しましょう。
そりゃあ違うぜ、お師匠様。わらわのただ一度の過ちはこの程度の力を学ぶのにあんたに弟子入りしちまったことだぜ。何が魔法だ、何が無限の魔女だ。こんなの気づくだけの力じゃねえかよ。それをもったいぶって偉そうによ。お前の出番はとっくに終わってんだよ、お師匠様よ。
Oh my god, their voice. I keep getting surprised about her voice actress. Oh my god. The music.
もうわけがわからねえ。一体目の前で何が起こってんだ。
Shannon is trying to kill her mother figure. That's what's happening.
私の弟子が迷惑をかけていますね。謝ります。
She's speaking to Battler though. Wow.
あんた何者なんだ。熊沢のばあちゃんがどうしてこんな姉ちゃんに化けるんだ。つうかあんた誰だよ。わけがわからねえ。これは何の特撮なんだ。俺は頭がどうにかなっちまいそうだ。
私はあの子の魔女の師匠です。かつての名はベアトリーチェ。あの子が私を継ぐ時にその名を送ったため今は名を持ちません。
あんたがすでに言い切っちまってるが、俺はあんたの弟子のせいで大いに迷惑しているぜ。頼むから責任取って何とかしてくれ。じゃなくて俺はこんなの信じねえぞ。魔女も魔法もあるもんか。こんなめちゃくちゃバトル俺は認めねえぞ。くそったな。俺は何を信じりゃいいんだ。
あなたらしいとても短気なもてなしですね。
さすがお師匠様。この程度じゃバカバカしくてまぶたを開く気にもならないらしい。島ごとぶっ壊す気でなきゃ無理らしいぜ。さあさあおいでなさい。双剣の戦闘。
What? Oh no. We're Persona 5 right now. In response to Beatrice's summon, a terrific earth tremor split the rose garden. And on either side of her shoulders, 2 massive war towers sprouted and stabbed into the heavens. They stretched up to 100 maritae tall, and each had over 360 ports. They were war towers of the gods' army corps, which had prevented even the group of ancient heroes from invading their sacred grounds. As Beatrice elegantly floated in the gap between the massive 2-headed towers, she looked down on her teacher, sneering with a sense of absolute superiority. The 2 massive towers lined up behind the shoulders, which looked very small, like a butterfly dancing between huge trees.
蝶に化ければかわせるとか思うなよ。双子島の弾幕密度じゃあんた虫ピンの昆虫標本どころかめった刺しの針刺し人形だぜ。
Over 720 ports open on the towers, and godly soldiers ready their multi-shot ballistas.
それであなたの手番は終了ですか？それが遺言かよ。ぶっ放せ
Oh my god. The ballista shots that number over 1,000 were all fired at once, drawing a beautiful geometric curtain of death. The boorish sound as bull strings were played was probably even deeper than that of the reaper swinging its sickle.
さあさあおいでなさい。墜落せし塔よ。一なる言語をはぜ、その罪を知らしめよ。
No. The sky was stained as an incandescent red, and from between the clouds, a blazing massive tower fell upside down. That massive falling tower and its rubble sucked in the thousands of ballistas shots, so that not one of them approached the body of the witch who had summoned it. That's right, no group of people, no matter how large, could approach the mysteries of heaven. It was the reality of the fallen tower.
さすがお師匠様。いちいちやることがでけえや。私の手番は終わりませんよ。さあさあおいでなさい。イバルディの息子たち、我にふさわしき槍を与えたまえ。
As the massive crimson tower that had fallen made a terrible gold color explosion, massive spear appeared from inside those flames, so tall it looked like a tower. They had to look up to see all of it. It was too large even for a giant's hand. A divinely beautiful spear of the gods was so massive it gave the illusion that the fallen tower had turned into a spear of the same size. It was a spear of certain victory that no one could escape.
無用の双子塔ですね。自ら左右の退路を断つとは愚かしい。一本の槍をもお前は防げない。
When she snapped her fingers in command, a massive tower-sized spear shot at Beatrice like a lightning bolt. It aimed right for the middle of the center of the Golden Witch's heart, with extreme precision, as she danced in the gap between the towers like a butterfly, slicing straight through the air like a flash of lightning. This is like a ending battle of anime.
こんなところでグングニルが弾けるとは。やっぱりお師匠様はすげえな。ハゼロ、役立たずの塔、いでよ、巨人兵の戦列よ。その盾と胸で神なる槍を防ぎきれ。
The shoulder war towers exploded in gold. They became several billion gold butterflies. Those butterflies took the shape of 7 massive armored soldiers. Each stretched a full 50 merut into the sky. They lined up in front of the Beatrice, protecting their master and holding massive shields that towered like windmills. Oh my god. They were as massive as a mountain range. The witch behind them was like a small moon, hiding behind the mountains. Once in the past, when the massive shields these giants held had been readied by the whole regiment, they had protected King Wilhelm's castle, not only from arrows, but from the wind and rain. But when they had faced upwards and held their shields to the heavens, not a single raindrop had gotten through. We're fates now, boys. We're... Oh my god. This is not a mansion murder mystery anymore. This is an isekai anime.
神聖への敬いを忘れた魔女の哀れなことです。 神の槍を巨人ごときで防げるとお思いですか？
道理ですね。人間の金属でいくら武装しようとも神の槍は防げません。マダムの見事なエポレットメイトです。
そんなベアトリーチェ様！
もちろん忘れませんとも、お師匠様。さあさあおいでなさい。ヘパイストスと弟子たち、我にふさわしき盾を与えたまえ。
Golden whirlwinds arose at the feet of the giant soldiers. It was a cloud of countless butterflies. They attached themselves to the massive shields like gold leaf, sparkling like they were a gold mirror. It was the absolute defensive wall given to a goddess by the chief of the gods, the Aegis shield. When the holy spear, which left a dignified tail behind it like a comet, crashed into the mountain range of the gold shield, it was a terrible thunderous roar. It was the creaking of the pillars that held up to the heavens. Yeah, Beatrice killed everyone with magic. The end. Okay. The divine spear spun around and around and was sent flying in the direction of the setting sun.
ありえない。真相を防いだ。
いいえ、違います。神なる槍が避けたのです。絶対の槍と絶対の盾は争ってはいけないのが神々の掟。それはつまり防いだのと同じことですがね。
I see. The movable object and the romantic torso.
むしろお師匠様はこういうお遊びが相変わらず苦手なようで、わらわからのお返しだ。法典にのっとり、槍には槍でお返ししましょうぞ。
The giant soldier battle line, which had fully blocked the divine spear, released its holy golden shield. The shields fell to the earth, making a ground shake. And they did, another gold whirlwind arose. The 7 gold shields changed their form into 7 massive spears of lightning, lying on the ground. At once, each of the giants lifted one of their legs high and firmly stomped on the tips of their handles. As the earth shook with a thunderous sound, the 7 lightning spears spun beautifully and flew above the giant soldiers' heads. They scattered into a golden splash and began to fall before the giants. Each of the giants squared off, and with the force of their whole body, they kicked and smashed them. The broken pieces numbered exactly 30 and became lightning spears of exactly the same size as the originals, which made 210 for the 7 giants, and all of those burst at once, each splitting into 30 thorns for a total of 6,300. They became a barrage of thunder clouds, drawing a beautiful geometric pattern, and then each changed into 3 bolts of lightning, so that 18,900 thunderbolts shot at the predecessor Beatrice.
さすがやりますね、マダムは。
Oh? The bundle of almost 20,000 thunderbolts must have been reduced the teacher's body to dust, but there had been no resistance. Beatrice knew immediately that she had been fooled. At that time, from the direction of the sun that supposedly set, she felt the impossible rays of sunlight. A brilliant ray of light shone on her profile. It was the figure of her teacher, holding aloft the spear of the gods that had supposedly been repelled a short time ago. She bore a sparkle like the sun on her back and made it shine on the incarnation of the darkness. Nothing personal, kid. As Beatrice watched, she was trapped like a mouse in a cage, cornered in a dead end formed by the giant soldier battle line. By now, the predecessor Beatrice had seized a position directly alongside the line.
これでお遊戯の時間はおしまいですよ、ベアトリーチェ。このわらわが側面を許しただと。
Her bold expression hadn't faltered even once, but now it twisted for the first time. And faster than Beatrice could click her tongue, predecessor Beatrice released the holy spear. As it leapt through the air, it changed its form once more.
さあさあおいでなさい、ドベルグの兄弟たち。我に巨人を砕きし天の鉄槌を与えたまえ。巨人兵ども、わらわを守れ。何をしているか、ノロマども。
By now, it was no longer a spear. A whirlwind of a massive hammer that raised a sound like a windstorm as it flew through the air. It was the legendary hammer that had shaken even the king of frost giants. So the giant soldiers couldn't escape from that fear. So regardless of how strongly their master ordered them, they couldn't get the path of the hammer.
バックランクメイト、安らかに眠りなさい。
Before the whirlwind of the massive chunk of metal, Beatrice was nothing more than a mere speck. The instant the whirlwind started to suck Beatrice in, she appeared to change into a massive war tower. Oh? The iron hammer smashed the war tower, scattering a tremendous amount of rubble, but it did not reach she who had escaped behind it. Furthermore, when the smoke started to settle, the war tower had sucked in the massive iron hammer without crumbling and blocked the way. Even the giant smashing iron hammer couldn't break through the final tower protecting the witch. However, this war tower was actually the witch's last trump card. It was the war tower for dodging that could only save her from danger once. But this tower was impregnable. No weapon could break through it. At that time, the moon disappeared. As Beatrice hid in the shadows of the giant soldier battle line in the war tower, she looked up at the sky. Oh my god. It's Loki, it's Thor. When she did, inside the moon was the figure of a massive horse ridden by the god of war and death. Predecessor Beatrice rode the horse with him. His cloak had blocked the moon and swallowed it in an eerie shadow, and the spear of gods was in his hand once more. In other words, it was a godly knight who had jumped over the ramparts formed by the giant soldiers in the war tower, attacking from the heavens. Smothered mates. Oh shit!
やられた。スマザードメイト、楽しかったですよ、ベアトリーチェ。
The struggle to the death between the two witches with the same name was over. The spear that had been launched from the heavens pierced the ground. The giant soldier battle line and the war tower split into countless gold butterflies, wrapping the air in a gold-covered storm. Then came the sound of thunder, the sound of the falling rain and winds. If you looked around, the world's garden was empty. Bertel and the rest were watching the two witches confronting each other. Beatrice alone had changed. She had been pierced straight through by the spear from the base of her neck and the right shoulder to her left buttocks, unable to even reach the ground with her feet, horribly exposed like a pitiful pinned butterfly, tormented by the wind and rain.
Beatrice 様。
さすが恐ろしいお方です。
これで決着です、ベアトリーチェ。
Oh, her life.
いって
Beatrice wore a bitter smile of false courage, but a strand of blood dangled from her mouth, making her look even more
無
pitiful.
限の魔女の称号と力、そしてベアトリーチェの名を今こそ返してもらいましょう。
Oh.
無限の魔女を語るにはお前は未熟が過ぎます。やめて、許しておくれよ、お嬢様。
Oh my god. Look at her tone of
ち
voice.
ょっとふざけただけじゃねえかよ。あなたから我が名を奪います。元の姿に戻してあげましょう。過ぎたる力を手放し、己にふさわしい生を全うするがよいでしょう。さあさあ、思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。
Predecessor Beatrice began to recite the words of power. As she did, small golden butterflies gathered near the skewered Beatrice and began to swarm about her. Is this it? Like butterflies sucking the nectar out of flowers, they began to suck the magical power of Beatrice, and it seemed to cause her intense pain. A cry of anguish issued from Beatrice's mouth. She no longer had any powers to resist it.
さあさあ、目を閉じてごらんなさい。思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。
I see.
さあ、ベアトリーチェ、あなたも私と一緒に復唱なさい。
I see. So Kumasawa is trying to convince Shannon and succeeding for now.
一緒にお歌を歌いましょう。そうすればすぐに終わりますよ。あなたの苦痛が少しでも早く終わります。そうだな、お師様と一緒にお歌を歌うなんてどれくらいぶりかな。さあ一緒に、さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。
And two of them began to recite the same song. More and more gold butterflies danced around, swarming around Beatrice.
大丈夫ですよ、お嬢様。あなたは私の弟子であることを失いますが、私の仕えるお嬢様であることに変わりはありません。そうしたらまた一緒にご本を読んで差し上げましょう。リンゴのパイを焼いて差し上げましょう。昔のように。さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。ああ、思い出してごらんなさい。そろそろ思い出せてきたかな。
Oh shit.
なあ、
Oh
お嬢様。
shit.
あんたの後ろにあるそれ思い出したかな。
Nothing personal, kid.
何ですかこれは。
The predecessor Beatrice looked behind her. There was an eerie hedgehog curled up in there. No, it was herself. It was another predecessor Beatrice whose whole body had been packed with ballista shots, lying there like a pink cushion doll.
さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。違うか。さあさあ思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどうやって殺されたのか。
Oh shit. The predecessor Beatrice was stunned. So this is where Shannon kills Kumasawa. Her form gradually began to fade away.
これはいつの間に。
最初に呼んだのは双剣の塔ではない、四つ子の塔だったのよ。お師匠様の左右はるかに潜んだ隠し塔が描くセブンスランクルークの死の境
I
界
have
線を。
no idea what they're saying, but it's a chess. So she had 4 rooks. Is that what
お師
she's
匠
saying?
様はのこのこと踏み越えてきてくれた。チェックの発生が遅れてしまったことだけはマナー違反。率直に謝ろうぞ。
The battle had been decided at the very beginning. Had been over since the time the predecessor had leaned forward, readying her holy spear to attack Beatrice, who had been wedged between her shoulder towers. The hidden towers lurking on either side had bathed her in a windstorm of ballista shots coming from 720 ports on both sides, pinning her and killing her. However, Beatrice hadn't wanted it to be resolved like that. She had wanted to let her teacher take her next move, and had continued acting as though the game was still on. She had immediately revived her with the endless power, and had made her continue the game as though nothing had happened. Then the predecessor slowly remembered that she had already been killed, and began to vanish completely. When she did, the spear that had pierced Beatrice also vanished. Beatrice finally landed on the ground. There wasn't even a trace of a scar.
楽しかったぞ、お師匠様。また遊びたくなったらいつでも蘇らせてやるよ。それで適当に遊んだら死体だったことをまた思い出させてやるからさ。
Oh.
なあ、ちゃんとあんたの言いつけは守ってるぜ。
Wow.
おもちゃは遊び終わったらちゃんとおもちゃ箱にしまいましょうってな。
So, in the end, Shannon killed her mother figure here.
楽勝でございますかな。
Nope.
愚か、心象だ。四つ子島で騙せてなかったら死んでおったのはわらわの方よ。さすがはお師匠様だが、これで胸が張れるというもの。わらわは今こそお師匠様を完全に超えたとな。ロノウェ、お師匠様の亡骸をもう少しマシにしておけ。わらわもそこまで敬意を失ってはおらぬでな。
かしこまりました。今宵の第一の晩は少々派手に暴れすぎました。少しは片付けも必要でしょう。すぐに取り掛かります。ヤギたちよ、お片付けの時間ですよ。
When Ronove snapped his fingers, blazing sparkling red eyes began to blink open in the shadows and darkness, becoming goat-headed attendants that appear one after another. One by one, they wordlessly stood at attention in a line behind Ronove's back.
この度は6人の遺体をどのようにいたしますか。また密室形式に。
わらわは今それを考える気分になる。ロノウェに任す。バトラーを悩ませるようなとびっきりの密室を頼むぞ。
かしこまりました。それではとびきりの。
She's sad because she killed her mother figure.
それ、バトラはどこだ？バトラー、わらわの大活躍見た？
くしょー、今のめちゃくちゃな魔法の嵐を見せつけられて、俺は何を否定すればいいんだ。魔女はいるも何も、あんなドッカンドッカン凄まじいファンタジーを見せつけられて、今の俺は何を否定すりゃいいんだよ。もうわかんねえ。前回もそうだが、このイーカス的なマジカルバトルをどう否定すりゃいいんだよ。
You just need to look underneath.
だよな。 こんなの見ちまったらもう言い逃れはできねえもんな。さあバトラー、とんでも推理を聞かせてくれよ。
お嬢様、笑いに品がございませんよ。
おお、これはすまぬ。しかしわらわの責任ではないぞ。何しろバトラーにキューッと両目を固く閉じてキリキリギリギリ歯ぎしりするなんとも悔しそうなその表情を見せられると、自然とわらわの口からこぼれてしまうものでな。
さあバトラ様、くじけずにテーブルへお戻りを。お嬢様はバトラ様の反撃を期待されておりますよ。
ふざけるな。何をどう反論すりゃいいってんだ。まずあの塔が地面から生えてきたあたりからもうめちゃくちゃだろうが、実は六軒島の地下に合体変形巨大ロボの秘密研究所でもあってボタン一つでおかしな塔が生えてくるってのか。なあ、それならあのでけえ巨人どもはきっとロボットだぜ。あるいは悪の秘密結社のメカ怪獣かもな。わけわかんねえよ。俺に話しかけるんじゃねえ。
He's crying.
ほらほらほらほら、泣くなよ。魔法でドッカンドッカン。そなたが望むなら好きだって砕くし、水仙を雨のようにだって降らすさ。
You can do that?
お前好みのムチムチ姉ちゃんで島を埋め尽くしてやってもいいんだぜ。
Oh my god.
さあさあ、ほらほらほら、わらわの出番は終わったぜ。受け手をさせよ、反撃しろよ。できねえだろ。できねえのは船長も承知よ。お前こういうのダメだもんな。
So this time she's starting out strong when otherwise she starts out in a weak spot.
こういうファンタジー本当は大好きなんだもんな。知ってんだよ。今時こんなの巷にいくらでも溢れてるじゃねえか。漫画に小説、アニメに映画、10代くらいのガキンチョたちがおかしな特殊能力いっぱい持ってて世界の命運かけてドッカンバッカンやるやつ。お前も大好きだもんな。知ってんだよ。隠すのよ。大好きじゃねえかよ。そのお前の大好きなやつがちょいと目の前で披露されただけじゃねえかよ。どうして漫画やアニメのそれは信じてくれるのにわらわのだけ信じてくれねえんだよ。信じろよ信じろよ、信じちまえよ。反論なんかできねえさ。こうして見せられちまったんだからな。ほらほらほらほら、返事をしろよ。思考はいらねえ。素直にごめんなさいベアトリーチェ様。いやいいんだよ。ほらほら言ってみろ。ごめんなさいベアトリーチェ様って言ってみろよ。言えよ言えよ。
Oh my gosh, she's so entertaining. Oh my gosh, she's so entertaining. Oh my god. Every time she's on screen, I'm smiling so wide. And it's over. So this time she starts out strong when otherwise Battler has the upper hand in the beginning. So how are they going to find the bodies? That's one of them. Let's see. So I won't rate all of them, but still I'm going to say the ones that moved. Goda went to B rank this time around. And I'll just say that the Seven Sisters moved to A rank. Ronove to S rank. And the The old Beatrice, I'd say B rank for now. And she's dead. I don't know if she'll appear again, I guess so. Oh, Genji to A rank as well. A rank to Genji. Kumasawa, B rank still, on top of B rank. Kumasawa and the old Beatrice. Genji might be Ronove as well. And Shannon might be Beatrice. Is what I'm getting at. And thanks for watching.